Welcome to Dust to Grace, where gumption meets grace and real life gets lived out loud. I am so glad you're here. Have you ever had someone show up for you not because you asked, not because it was easy for them, but just because you needed them and they knew it before you said a word? That quiet, stubborn something that keeps you getting up, keeps you hoping, keeps you believing there is still something good on the other side of this hard season. I know that feeling, and I believe it has a name. It is called grace. I want to tell you about two moments that taught me something I did not fully understand until I sat with them side by side. The first one is kind of funny. My youngest son and I had been snowed in from a bad winter storm. Cabin fever had set in big time. We had enough of the house, and we decided to drive over to the neighbors just to visit, just to get out of the house. We got to the top of the hill and looked at the drift ahead of us. It looked deep. We really had no idea if we could make it through this drift. He looked at me, I looked at him, and I told him, if you're going to try it, you better floor it. We looked at each other one more time, then straight ahead. He floored it. Started out good, it really did. And then it was like hitting a brick wall. We were stuck. Really, really stuck. Now, we did not want to call my husband. We knew exactly what he'd say about us trying that drift in the first place. That we knew better. So we called my oldest son instead. Thank God for cell phones. He came, pickup and tow rope, ready to pull us out backwards. And it was working. It was really working. Right up until he was halfway home, still driving, thinking he was gaining speed and pulling us free, except by then it was just the bumper of the car that was dragging behind his truck. We were still stuck, really stuck, and he had no idea. So we called him. He had to turn around, come back, hook the tow rope to the actual frame this time. A little digging and a little more work, and he finally got us loose. We never did make it to the neighbors that day, but we got plenty of fresh air. And by the time we got home, we were more than happy to sit at the kitchen table and play one more deck of cards. Thankful and laughing about the whole thing. Now, the second story is different from the snowdrift. The boys were both quite a little bit older, and the snowdrift was funny, and it was in our memory. The highway story was not so funny. Not that evening. My youngest son was heading to a rodeo. I had ridden along with him. That is just what you do as a rodeo mom. The plan was simple. Ride out together, drop his horse and trailer at his traveling partner's place, and I would drive his pickup back home while he went on to the rodeo. Simple. A mother being useful and a mother showing up. Nothing unusual about that in our world. Except somewhere on that highway, 70 miles from nowhere, the engine quit. Just quit. Dead. And suddenly the plan was gone, and we were on the shoulder of the highway with a horse, a trailer, a dead pickup, and a rodeo that was not going to wait. My youngest son was in one of those seasons where everything feels like it is falling apart at once. And this was one more thing piling on top of an already heavy load. But the rodeo had to go on. His traveling partner came and got him, loaded up the horse, hooked up the trailer. And before he let himself leave, in the middle of his own broken down, hard season, my youngest son stopped and made sure his older brother was already on the way. He made that call himself, and he waited there on that highway with me until he saw his brother's truck coming down the road. He was not going anywhere until he knew I was not alone. And when he finally did leave, watching him pull away with his traveling partner, his horse, and his trailer, the rodeo was still waiting, but I knew something I had always known, but needed to feel again right then. That young man takes care of people, even when he is the one who needs taken care of. Some things do not need explaining. Now my oldest son arrived. He hooked up the tow rope and we got moving. No engine means no power steering, and that wheel was heavy in my hands. I was fighting on every curve. The brakes worked, but they are not the same without an engine behind them. And the rope between us, him pulling me, and me on the end of that rope, was everything. If it goes slack, I would lose control and I'd lose my direction. I was not driving, I was just managing that pickup behind his pickup. And between us and home was a hill, a big, steep hill. We were racing the daylight, and that hill was our biggest concern, and we were hoping, praying really, to make it to the bottom before the sun set and we were completely in the dark. Because managing that grade and those corners in the last of the daylight was one thing. In the dark, it was going to be an entirely different thing. My oldest knew all of this, and he did the most important thing he could have done. He picked up his phone and he called me, and he told me to stay on my phone. Mom, can you see that the rope is tight? Yes, I can see it. Good. Keep your eyes on it. We're going to go around this corner. Try to stay on the inside so you don't swing out too far out into the other lane. Okay, I'm with you. Mom, we're coming up on the hill. You're going to be my brakes on the downhill side. As soon as you see the rope go slack, just a little slack, put your foot on the brake. Don't stomp on it. Just ease into it and keep that rope tight. I could feel the grade change under the tires. The pickup wanted to roll forward towards him. The rope started to loosen its tension just the way he said it would. I put my foot on the brake the way he told me to. Easy. Keep it tight. Keep it tight. You're doing good, Mom. I can see you back there. You're doing exactly right. Just what I've asked you to do. He could see me. That was the thing. He was watching his mirrors the whole time. Watching me. Watching the rope. Watching the road. And every time I needed to know I was still doing it right, he told me. Not once did he sound worried. Not once did his voice go tight. He was steady in that way. That made the road feel steadier under me. And it made it feel better than it actually was. We made it to the bottom of the hill, just as the last ray of the sun went dark. The worst of it was behind us. And then he turned us off onto the gravel road. Slower, but it was going to be safer because it was going to be less traffic and we wouldn't have to worry about the darkness. If you grew up in the country, you know exactly what a gravel road at night feels like. The dust behind you, the stars above you, the quiet that settles when the urgency is finally done. When we turned onto that gravel road, I felt great relief, and I felt like I could actually take a deep breath and be able to breathe a little easier. He stayed on the phone with me, though, the whole way home. Not because we were still in danger, but because he knew I needed the company, and because that is just who he is. We got that pickup home that night, and I had gone out that day to be the helper. I ended up being the one who needed help, and my oldest son, steady, quiet, showing up with a tow rope and a calm voice and his eyes in the mirror, made sure I never once felt alone in that pickup cab. Here's what strikes me most, sitting with both of these stories side by side. Two boys raised in the same house, same faith, same rules, same kitchen table, and yet completely different people. Different in the way they think, the way they move through a crisis, the way they show up in the world. My youngest is the one who tells me straight, no cushioning, right when I need to hear it. Mom, just slow down. Mom, the money's gone, enjoy it and learn your lesson. That kind of clarity, even as a little boy, cuts right through my anxiety and hands me the truth I actually needed. And on that highway shoulder, in the middle of his own hard season, he made sure his mother was not left alone before he let himself leave. Now, my oldest is steady in a different way. The one who shows up with a tow rope and a plan, who stays level on the other end of a phone line while I was white-knuckling a hill, who talked me through every corner without ever letting his voice go tight. Neither of them is a smaller version of the other. They aren't interchangeable, and I think that is exactly the point. If I had only ever had one of them, I would have gotten one gift and missed the other entirely. It is the two of them together, their differences, not their similarities, that make our family whole. And that grew me into more of a whole person too. And I want to be honest about something else too. It's not always my oldest who's the steady one when we're stuck somewhere. Just last weekend, my oldest was out on the road and had some tire trouble of his own. And who did he call? His younger brother. My youngest walked him through it over the phone and helped him find the right tire shop, talked him through what he needed to do, and got him taken care of without ever having to call a roadside service. So maybe it's not that one of my boys is the steady one and the other isn't. Maybe steadiness isn't a fixed role at all. It's just whoever happens to have the calm and the know-how in that particular moment. Some days it's my oldest with a tow rope and a level voice on the highway. Other days it's my youngest walking his big brother through a tire problem like it's nothing. They take turns being the steady one for each other and for me. I don't think I would have become who I am if either one of my boys had been more like the other. I needed the bluntness of one and the steadiness of the other. I needed to be told to slow down, and I needed to be pulled out of a snowbank without a word of judgment. Different talents, different temperaments, both of them completing something in me I didn't know was missing until they filled it. It's a strange kind of grace, watching two people come from the exact same home and turn out differently, and realizing that the difference itself is a gift. Here's what I've learned about what my son did on that highway. What he gave me that evening, talking me through every corner, every grade change, the race against the light, and then the quiet of the gravel road home. That is exactly what a regulated nervous system does for an unregulated nervous system. He was not just navigating a highway, he was co-regulating me, keeping me calm by being calm himself, keeping me focused by knowing exactly what to focus on. Neuroscientists call this co-regulation. The way one person's steady nervous system can literally help settle another person's, it is one of the most powerful things one human being can do for another. And it does not require a degree or a credential or even knowing the word for it. My son did not learn that from a textbook. He learned it the same place I learned everything that matters. From a life lived close to the ground, a country life, doing hard things alongside people who show up. And here is what I want you to sit with this week. Who is the steady one in your corner? The one who shows up with a tow rope and a plan. The one who stays on the phone all the way home. The one in the middle of their own hard season, making sure you are not left alone on the side of the road before they let themselves leave. Because that person in your life, they are not an accident. They are grace with a truck and a tow rope. And they deserve to be seen for exactly what they are. This week, I'm not asking you to do anything big. I'm just asking you to notice the steady one in your corner. Maybe you haven't told them lately what it has meant to you. Maybe now is the time. Hope, breathe, lean, believe, and grow. You're not behind. You're not broken. You are one breath away from the grace that life has for you. Real stories, real struggle, real grace. Take the breath. Lean in. I'm Lisa Anders, and I'll see you next time. Have a grace-filled day.